Welcome to Medley Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters helps in giving all the members to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater personal growth and self-confidence. To conduct a successful meeting, we have 3 ground rules. Please put your mobile on silence mode. I will give you 10 seconds. Please don't talk about topics like sex, religion and politics, and don't exit the meeting abruptly. All the very best to all the speakers and role players. I will hand over the proceeding to the presiding officer, TM Dinakaran.
Thank you, Toastmasters Club. Good afternoon. How are you all doing?
Good afternoon. Great.
This one is Gavel. I declare meeting number 798 open. I start with welcoming the dignitaries. I would recognize the presence of DTM Thomas. Now we will move on with the guest introduction. I see the guest Janesh. Would you like to come and introduce yourself, and how did you know about this Toastmasters Club? Any expectations? You are okay?
Yes.
Janesh. Yeah. You can feel free, like whatever you think.
I am Janesh. I'm doing my PG in Madras University, MCOM in Business Data Science. MCOM in Business Data Science. I know about Toastmasters today only. My father only introduced Toastmaster. Then Guru Prasad sir asked me to attend this meeting, so that I came to know this meeting. I don't know what about this. So that this is my first time
Yeah. Toastmaster is a platform it gives us to interact with all these people from different walks of life. We have doctors, we have scientists, and retired professors and everybody. So you will have an opportunity to interact with all these people. More than that, you will have an opportunity to learn about leadership skills and also the public speaking skills. So please visit us regularly. We will support you. Guest Ketana, would you like to come and introduce?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to join this community forum. So actually, I'm working in IT department in city, and this is the first time I'm joining this class. So I want to improve my leadership skill and the communication skill. So looking forward to it.
Ma'am, would you like to speak few words? You can stay there. We have not seen you for last few weeks. Yeah. Okay.
I missed the opportunity to meet people and learn more. I actually come here to learn more from different people of different vibrant people. So that is why I came again. I am trying to become a member, but I don't know how far I will be successful in being the real good member. I don't know. Anyway, I am trying.
We're happy for having you here with us and then spending time with us, ma'am. So you don't need to think about anything like you need to do something specifically to become a member or being an active member. As long as you stay with us and then come here and attend us, we are happy to see you here. Yeah.
I may be a dumb member, sir.
No. we are learning a lot. See, being at this age and then having trouble in coming in and all, you're taking an effort to come here and be with us. It really means a lot. So we learn a lot from you. So perseverance and then the continuous effort, it's a learning for us from you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, friends, I will start with some note. Sometimes we don't see what we want to see. Right? I'll re-emphasize on that. So last week I happened to speak with 3 of my school friends. We are very close friends during the school days. We used to be in the top 5 ranks in the different classes. We used to rotate ranks within us. So post to school days, we have taken up different career paths and then we will not be in touch for a long time. And I happen to speak these people. Like one of my friend, he was actually working in a chemical industry, and then he got into some depression issues, and then he was not able to go to work for quite a few years. But still, he has a very big coconut farm in the village, in our native place. And at least his wife is actually like a college professor. So I thought okay, so though he's not able to go for work or do something, but he has some wealth and he's getting some earnings, and his wife is also well off. So I thought everything is fine. That's about one friend. The next friend, he was actually in the tools engineering, and he again he used to be in fires competition with me in studies and all, and he left his job and was trying to do some business, and then couldn't do well. Again, he got back to the job, and then he reached out to me a few times, sometimes for some help and some functions and all. I couldn't get in touch and couldn't make it to those functions. But yeah, so that's, but again, I thought he got back to the job, and then he's again doing fine, and then everything is fine. That's what I thought. The third one is again, he was into this agri, he studied agri, so he was doing some job, and recently, a few years back, he got the government job. His wife also got the government job in the panchayat office. So I thought everything was well, and then I used to see a lot of photographs in the Facebook, happy photographs during the festivals, and I think, okay, everything is going fine with all these people. The first one I told, where he has wealth, and then wife is all going to the college, he's a college professor. So though he has everything, he couldn't focus much in his life due to this depression and this family welfare and everything. Now he is staring at that situation where he might lose his family. The second friend I told, where he took into some business and then got back into the job, he suddenly got into heart attack, he is no more. The third friend, where husband and wife, both of them are doing well in the government job, he tried to do some business, he invested a lot of money, he lost money, he got into a situation where he could get into these suicidal thoughts and everything. Now he is trying to slowly come out of it. So sometimes we don't see what we need to see. So the message here is, what I want to communicate here is that with all our day-to-day activities and daily chores, please take some time out, try to reach out to your friends or loved ones or the family, close relatives and everybody. Try to spend some time with them, irrespective of without any purpose, try to have some time with them. With that, we'll move on with this regular proceedings of the meeting. For today's meeting, our TM OD is Toastmaster Prasanna. We all know she's a doctor, she's an anesthetist working in the Chennai Cancer Institute. More than that, she's doing a lot of good things for Medley. I will hand it over to Toastmaster Prasanna Vani to take over.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dinakaran. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Where do you always find a date on a Valentine's Day? Yes?
Calendar.
Yeah, right. At the end of this meeting, I am sure you will all find your Valentine's Day date. Before that, let us kickstart this meeting with a quick quiz. At the outset, I declare no conflict of interest. I neither oppose, nor support, nor endorse, or have anything to do with any of the names that come up during the meeting. I only use them as an example of the concepts I am trying to explain. Let's get started with the quiz. I have a few phrases. As I tell those phrases, I would like you to say what is the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay? Where leaders are made. Toastmasters. Bet you can't just eat one. Bet you can't just eat one.
Chocolates.
Vani.
You can't just eat one. You always take it to a secret place and eat it.
Ice creams.
No. Lace. Think different. Sorry?
Yeah, some.
No iPhone here? Apple. Yeah. Express yourself? Airtel. Connecting India?
Nokia.
That's connecting people. Connecting India is BSNL. The secret of my energy, not my energy. We connected, we discovered, beyond dash. We connected, we discovered beyond Facebook. Powered by intellect, driven by values. Infosys, yeah. The complete man.
Raymond.
Yeah. And for the ladies here, because I'm worth it. L'Oreal. Don't dream it, drive it.
Audi.
Close.
BMW.
No.
Mercedes-Benz.
No. Jaguar. Just do it.
Nike.
Coffee that inspires. Starbucks. Taste the thunder. Thumbs up. Yeah. So what are all these?
Taglines.
We don't
Famous
have
taglines.
Everything you have asked.
Taglines. What do these taglines denote? Brand. Yeah. So these are all brands. The word brand comes from the term brander. Brander means to burn. When people build a brand, they burn a name in the minds of customers. So customers fall for the brand and they trust the brand, they fall for the promise the brand makes and keep coming back to that brand. We also identify with the brand, the story which the brand portrays. Example, Amul. What is the message Amul tries to convey?
Taste of India.
Yeah, taste of India. The underlying message which makes it identify with the cause.
The cooperative.
Sorry?
The cooperative.
Yeah, it's a cooperative. It portrays the image that all its profit benefits are there to benefit the dairy farmers of Anand village in Gujarat. And what does Fevicol portray? Yes, the unbreakable bond. It was even used as a metaphor by our Prime Minister when he talked about it with respect to Indo-Japan relationships. So that is the power of branding. These are all products. What about us? As individuals, are we a brand?
Yes.
Yes. Why do you say so, sir?
We have opinions about people. We categorize them based on their what we see of their behavior. We love some, we don't love some. They're even their friends.
Yes. As individuals, we also are brands. And building this personal brand of you and me will take us a long way in becoming better at whatever we do. So we are going to see about the personal branding today. The personal brand that defines you and me. This starts with the very first branding we receive within a few days after our birth. A brand which is whispered in our ears even before we could understand what it means. Our names. So the first brand image we have is our names. We've heard of people who stay with their names, who change their names. Aragappan becomes Alex, Mayappan becomes Maps. So people try to create a brand around their name. Next to name comes the impression management. It is the impression we try to leave on others based on the brand they see in us. It is often said that we should dress up for the job we aspire for rather than the job we have at hand. Next to impression management comes identity management. That is, what capital do we bring to a relationship? Is it competency capital or relationship capital? By competency capital, we mean the knowledge and skills we bring into a relationship. And by relationship capital, it is the connections. To help our guests connect with this meeting better, let me go on a typical structure of a Toastmasters meeting. The typical structure of a Toastmasters meeting has three parts: the prepared speeches section, a table topic or impromptu speech section, and the evaluation section. Today's meeting, in between the table topics and evaluation, we have an education session too. To elaborate on the evaluation section, I call upon our General Evaluator today. Our General Evaluator today is a software engineer who has demonstrated his personal brand image of punctuality, sincerity, and dedication during his role of Sergeant at Arms in a previous term. I call upon Toastmaster Venkat Palle, our General Evaluator for today.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As Toastmaster person introduced me as a software engineer. As a software engineer, I am responsible for the task which is assigned to me. The task comes from the top management as a requirements, and I understand them, and I do the design, code, and test. And it gets evaluated by different terminology, but one interesting thing I want to disclose here is DOD, means definition of done. It has all the parameters included, like time and quality and quantity. Everything is defined. When it is meeting all the requirements and all the acceptance criteria, then I can say my definition of done is done. My DOD criteria is met as per the customer expectations. So that's why my task gets closed at the end of the day. So likewise, in everybody's life, whether it is the office or at home or somewhere with the friends, we always evaluate ourselves or our friends, colleagues, or some activity. So this is the way we do it every day. So today, I evaluate this meeting before how it was started and how it is proceeding, how it ends. So I am the general evaluator for today's meeting. Like I get support from different teams in my office, like a test team, requirement team, design team, validation team. There are many teams available in my office. Here I have two teams which they support me to evaluate the session. Let me introduce tag team, timer, counter, and grammarian. And the timer role is played by a person who is adopting a minimalistic approach, finding ways to give back to the society and the way he would like to go forward. Cupid's arrow took a detour and bypassed him completely. With this, I would like to invite Toastmaster Ranga to introduce his role or brief his role and responsibility as a timer. Please join me welcoming Toastmaster Ranga.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My responsibility as a timer is to monitor the time for each of the sections, namely the prepared speeches, the evaluations, and the TT. For prepared speeches, we have one icebreaker speech, which will be for 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will show the green card. At 5 minutes, I will show the amber card. And at 6 minutes, I will show the red card. And there are two prepared speeches for 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will show the green card. 6, I will show the amber. And for the 7th minute, I will show the red card. For TT speeches, it will be 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will show the green card. 1.5 minutes, the amber card. And at 2 minutes, the red card. Evaluations will be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will show the green card. 2.5 minutes, I will show the amber card. And 3 minutes, I will show the red card. Each segment will have 30-second grace time, meaning you can finish it at 30 of each minute. If you, for table topics, you have to necessarily talk for 1 minute for you to be qualified. For prepared speeches, it is 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, and for evaluations, it will be 1.5 minutes, and no later than 3 minutes 30 seconds. I will present my report when called upon to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, move on to next tag player is a counter. Is played by Professor, Head of the Department, Physiology, Satyabama Dental College. She also further added she is feeling happy and gratitude to be part of the Medley family. Cupid arrow hit her when her husband met her first time and like her 200%. Still today, her husband is showing same love and care, and she felt blessed to have her husband. With this, I would like to invite Toastmaster Anuradha to brief about her role as an counter.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So as a counter, I'm going to concentrate on 4 things. Number 1, I will listen to the words and sounds that are used as crutches and fillers. Number 2, I will listen to the overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. And third thing is, I will listen to the filler sounds, including a, Finally, I will listen to the repeated words or phrases such as I and this means, this means. At the end of the meeting, I will submit my report when the GE calls for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let me introduce grammarian role. He is played by a passionate Toastmaster and mentor, and is my mentor too. And I would like to invite Toastmaster Suresh to brief about his role and responsibilities, and also put few words about the Cupid's arrow, how it was hit you, and please welcome, and please join me welcome Toastmaster Suresh.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. My name is General Evaluator. Cupid arrow, let me make another speech on that 7 minutes, because a lot of things I had to say in that. Something I had to edit also in between. Let me play. Today I am playing the role of grammarian. For your convenience, instead of 1 word today, I have brought 2 words for you all. It's simple words: inculcate and commitment. So inculcate is the thing we have to instill good habits in the minds of next generation in that usage. Inculcate, please use it. Commitment, you all know what we are going to do in future. Especially, I decided to reduce my weight this year. I had a commitment on 1st January. Till now, I could not make that commitment, but there are 11 months more till, so I do have much hope in that. So commitment is something we are promising to do in future. So inculcate and commitment. And please don't think the grammarian role is fine for fault finding committee. It's only, I'll be monitoring your English usage, and I'll be submitting the report to General Evaluator at the end. Feel comfortable. I wish you all use this word. Please try.
Thank you. This is the introduction of the tag team, and I will hand over the stage to team Prasanna.
Thank you, General Evaluator. It is now time for us to enter the prepared speeches section. Prepared speeches section is where the Toastmasters they choose an educational pathway, and based on the projects in the various pathways, they present a speech in every week. The first speaker for today is a mechanical engineering student from Anna University who has set his ambitions very high and wants to model his life on the likes of Richard Branson and Elon Musk, who symbolize personal branding. Toastmaster Suresh Krishnan will deliver his dynamic leadership pathway, Level 1 Project 1 icebreaker speech. To detail his objectives, I call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Hemant.
This is Toastmaster Suresh's first speech, and I am very happy to see him because last time he was not here, and at that time also I was his evaluator. And best of luck for him. And it's his first speech. It is an icebreaker speech, and he is delivering his speech from the dynamic leadership pathway.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hemant. Toastmaster Suresh Krishnan, Path of Life. Path of Life, Toastmaster Suresh Krishnan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
So, path of life, everyone has their own set of paths, or even you must have inculcated some ideas from those. Prasanna Vani ma'am has introduced me as an engineer. Now, when you have referred to a dictionary, engineer has a synonym called ingenuity. Now, can anyone tell me what an ingenuity do you think it is? Any meaning? What do you think ingenuity means?
The power of invention.
Okay.
helps to improve our way of life?
Sure. So ingenuity, to summarize, it means the creative thinking, which means one uses his own experiences to solve his future problems. Now, this is the common meaning of an engineer. So that's where the engineer name is derived. So from this, I like to point out one other incident. Now, how many of you know Muhammad Ali? Obviously, everybody knows, one of the great time boxers. Now, a sports reporter once approached him and asked him, how many reps of squats do you do in a day? Muhammad Ali replied, I don't know. I start counting only when it hurts. And from this, and what he says, why do you do that? He explains the sciences of muscle building behind it. He says, only when you tear your muscles, but then the proteins will go and build and it will form a bigger muscle. And that's how my body works. So from the similar way, I have a set of life situations which I would like to share, and also which has a similar instances which is connected to my pathway leadership. Back in 2014, I used to be a tennis player. I used to go, when I was in the Gulf, there's this a big tennis club called the JC Tennis Club. I used to have an African coach back then, an amazing player. He used to. So when my dad drive up to the place, he would drop off 600 meters from my court. So I need to run alongside my dad's car. And dad would be saying, keep up man, you're too slow. And every single, it was 2 days in a week, Fridays and Saturdays. So each of those 2 days, I had to run beside my dad's car till I reached my tennis court. And one such day, unfortunately, my coach showed up at the same time. He used to drive in his Nissan GTR. He took over my dad's car and he was shouting in his African accent, come on Suresh, you're running slow, catch up with me. That's how it was his African slang. So once we reached the tennis court, we would do a set of reps, push-ups, and then he would really, when we start playing tennis, there's always this important values in the tennis speaking, in tennis, and what you can learn from this sport at every classes after when we finish our training. And even though I was a big tennis student back then, I did not know how to tie my shoelaces. So each and every session I would go to him, he would bend down and tie my shoelaces to me, and he would pat my shoulders and say, Suresh, this was a wonderful game today, but I believe you still have a potential to make it great. So that one, I did not know what he meant by then. I did not know what he said or what those words meant back then. But I don't know. But little did I know that what he actually meant was, in order to be a great leader, one has to be willing to deep down into the unknown territory. And then my lifestyle back then was sometimes would be sophisticated in those 2 days. Because after finishing, and sometimes when we have those tournaments, he would hit the balls, and when you miss, he would say, come on man, run to there and get the ball. You're afraid you're going to get hurt, that's not going to how it works. Go get over there and do it. So that's his that he was one of the greatest motivation factors in my life back then. So after the session's done, he would go back, we'd get a juice box, and we'd be sitting on our juices until our dads come and pick up in the car. We got out, we went home, had a shower, and after 4 hours later, after lunch, I'd be get on the car and hop up in the swimming pool. There, even though my body would still be aching from the tennis, I had another coach from there. He was also a very excellent leader for me, a very exclusive leader character in my life. And while swimming, he used to say, Suresh, you need to have there's a self-doubt whereas in the water, if you don't move any of your body, you will sink. So you would say that, Suresh, stay calm. Sometimes it's the action that you do which makes it worse. And that was quite the my lifetime when I was back in 2014, when I was around 12 years of age. But at those times, I do not really think that these lessons would have a huge impact on me, on my future life. So ladies and gentlemen, what I would inculcate to you to this speech is that commitment is one of the subsets of a leadership. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suresh, Krishnan. That was quite a powerful message you inculcated in all of us. If you don't do something or if you stay still, you sink. Thank you for that message. Our next speaker is a Toastmaster who symbolizes the brand image of dynamic and passionate speaking, a dentist by profession who believes that words have the power to change lives. Toastmaster Sandhya will deliver her speech on Dynamic Leadership Pathway, Level 3, Project 2, Effective Body Language. To elaborate on the speech objectives, I call upon our evaluator, Toastmaster Jagan, to kindly come over and tell.
I was in the middle of making notes. There is so much in the manual in this project that I have to. You have given me a lot of work, Sandhya. I'm sure the manual has also given you a lot of work. So Sandhya is delivering from the Pathway Dynamic Leadership, Level 3, Project 2. It's an elective project. She has chosen effective body language as her pathway, as her project. Now the purpose is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language. So there is a level 1 project as well, which is vocal variety and body language, that you can choose either one of them, but body language, it dwells into much more. There are so many pages in the manual for body language alone in this project. So it is also to learn, practice and refine how he or she uses non-verbal communication on stage. All the very best, Sandhya. Over.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jagan. Toastmaster Sandhya. To break is to emerge. To break is to emerge. Toastmaster Sandhya.
Clouds break, rains emerge. Oyster breaks, pearl emerge. Glaciers break, holy Ganges emerge. Nature beautifully teaches a man to break is to emerge. Greetings and good evening, dignitaries, Toastmasters and dear guest. October, Chennai people love it. Why? It's so cool, it's so pleasant. The entire Chennai is happy with the month of October, except one place. Where's Sandhya? Dental colleges. Why? Exam time. I vouch, every dental surgeon, including my friend Dr. Pravda here, will have an unflinching doubt in her mind, especially on the day of exam. Did I choose my career right? It does happen. BDS follows a different exam pattern. There are 3 formats. The first format is theory, question answer. You just have to write it. Very simple, because we don't meet the evaluator. The second is practical, where we need to perform a patient procedure and submit. By the way, it is little certain, so manageable. The third, totally uncertain, and it is called Viva. So what is Viva? An undergraduate innocent student is made to sit on one side of the table, and on the other side, 6, how many? 6 professors of various degrees, high qualifications, enormous years of experience, sit down there, bombard the student with questions. And we call it a room of danger. October 26th, year 2000, I was in my final year BDS, waiting in the exam hall. Yes, Viva was happening nearby in my professor's room. The lab technician was having a name list, calling each student and ticking in as he was calling. And on that day, October 26th, mark the date, I was extremely grateful to my parents for having me named Sandhya. Not because of the Sanskrit meaning it has. S name comes towards the last in the name list. I was waiting. Name was called. I went inside. I just entered the doorstep, 1 foot inside. The lab technician closed the door, locked it. Please understand, what was locked was not the door. My brain door also was completely locked. I was filled with nervousness. I could feel every nerve in my million nerves was shivering. My hands were sweating in an 18-degree AC room. throat was closed, no voice coming up. My lips were dried. And as I was standing there, out of 6 professors, one of them looked like a stranger. He was brought from a different university and he was called external. And the worst part, his scores were final and he has to decide whether I pass or fail. With all this agony, I was standing there and the external showed this. I presumed he's asking me to sit. So I sat on a small stool, edge of the stool, with my hands on my lap and the foot on the floor. But all the 6 professors were sitting like this on armed chairs, coffee, biscuit, and this was going on. I could hear my own heartbeat lubbed up along with my mind voice, "You're done." I thought I could run away. I just turned, but the door was locked. Why? The lab technician did my favor. I was sitting there. Just then, my professor, Dr. Shivapatha Sundaram, my head of department, leaned over the desk like this, looked at my face straight, and he said, "What happened?" I said, "I'm completely broken, sir." My voice didn't come out. It was so low, hardly he could hear it. Dr. Shivapatha Sundaram, we call him SPS. SPS said, "Sandhya, we create this pressure cooker situation environment called Viva so that pressure builds inside you. This pressure, which is called fear, is a form of energy. Better use here, today, now, to channelize this energy into respect and gratitude and see how your intelligence will handle the situation. We are teachers here to simulate conditions of uncertainty called Viva so that you are well trained when you go outside the college to handle such uncontrolled situations." And he stopped. Silence pervaded the entire room. I was there, on the stool, same Sandhya, but eyes brightened, lips wet, calm mind, hands now closed like this. I started sitting erect. My perspective on Viva changed from a room of danger into room of guidance and respect. The rest of the Viva are just details. Ladies and gentlemen, pressure builds inside a seed kernel. It breaks, a new plant, life emerges. Pressure inside an egg, eggshell breaks, a chick, new life emerges. Pressure increases inside the uterine wall of mother. Water breaks, a new human life emerges. Nature just tells us to break is to emerge. As Toastmasters, my request, let's put ourselves into situations of uncertainty. Let's build the pressure inside. Let's break so that a new you will emerge. Let's remember the lesson from nature. To break is to emerge. Oh,
thank you, Toastmaster Sandhya, for this beautiful message. To break is to emerge. Our next speaker for the day is a Toastmaster who projects the personal brand image of charisma, composure, and confidence. She is well recognized for her organizational skills both within Medley and outside Medley. A dentist with a beautiful smile, a professor at Satyabama Dental College, who's on a constant journey for self-upgradation. And that is Toastmaster Pravda, who will now deliver a speech from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway, Level 2, Project 2, Understanding Your Communication Style. I invite Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan, who has joined us. To elaborate on a speech objectives, I call upon our evaluator, Toastmaster Priyadarshini.
Good afternoon to all my fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, Pravda will be attempting Level 2 Project 2 Understanding Your Communication Style. The purpose of this project is for the members to learn about different communication style and identify her primary style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of her style on them. The time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyadarshini. Toastmaster Pravda, BTM and ATM. BTM and ATM Toastmaster Pravda.
Thank you. On Saturdays afternoon, as I get ready for my Toastmaster meeting, my mom would ask, "Are you going for that meeting?" And if my daughters are at home, they will see me and ask sarcastically, "In a Toastmaster?" The worst is from my husband. Without hesitation, he will ask me, "Can you skip the meeting today and do me this work?" How do you handle or respond to such situations? I respond like a Zen. I give a gentle, calm smile because I know how committed I am and how important a Toastmaster meeting is for me. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests and my dear friends, very good afternoon to one and all. When someone asks me why I joined Toastmaster, I would instantly tell, I wanted to improve my public speaking and communication in English. Communication was not at all a problem when I was in school or in undergraduation because most of the time I spoke in Tamil. The real challenge was when I joined post-graduation, where I often have to do presentations in front of doyens of my specialty. I used to sit and start the preparation far before and rehearse every slide before I actually presented. Even now when I happen to see my old friends, they would say, "You used to sit always in the library preparing for your seminars and presentations." They do not know the reality. After joining as a teaching faculty, my stress increased tenfold because I have to take extemporaneous class for more than 1 hour. I follow the same technique. I rehearse every slide because generally in the slide I put only the key points and the pictures. So after some time, over years and with experience, I developed that teaching is very easy. But a tint of stress and lack of confidence always prevail within me when I enter the class. 2 years before, I was introduced to Toastmasters and I joined a Toastmaster club located at Jeddah because the meeting was online and it was only once in 2 weeks. Before even I understood the proceedings of a Toastmaster meeting, I was given an opportunity to do a 20-minute talk in a business session. I did it. I got appreciated, but they also pointed out 2 major mistakes that I made. One, half of the time I was not looking at the camera of my laptop. Instead, I was looking at the ceiling and talking. The next, I was not aware that I should not use between my points. After attending few Toastmaster meetings, I realized the mistakes that I made and I inculcated in my prepared speeches. So, the one major feedback that I constantly get for my speech is that check for the tone and voice modulation. And there I identified that I lack a major aspect of communication skill, the non-verbal part. I understood that for effective communication, apart from the words that we choose, the tone of our voice, the pause, the emphasis that we give for certain words, the way we stand, our hand gestures, everything sends message. I started inculcating that in my speaking, and I also improved my listening, judging, and evaluating skills. Today, I do not have the fear or stress when I enter into the class. I start my class with some interesting notes or facts. I add anecdotes if required. I engage my students. Even if I tend to forget some points, I convert them into questions. And today I see myself transformed into a better teacher. So I categorize my communication style as BTM and ATM. Any guess what it is? Exactly. Before Toastmaster, I was analytical. I could not easily express what I think. I will give my opinion or suggestions only when I'm asked. I can even rate my verbal communication as average and my communication in group or my non-verbal communication as below average. But ATM, after Toastmaster, I have become more sociable. I have become more impulsive. I have started adapting the direct communication style, where I have become more decisive and confident. Even yesterday, when I went for the class, the projector was not working. I could not show the PowerPoint, but still I was able to take a 45 minutes extempore class where I would confidently take and complete my topic. That confidence and the practical nuances that for an effective speaking I learned from Toastmasters. Friends, studies have shown that the quality of our communication and the quality of our life have direct association. Every Toastmaster meeting enhances me and enlightens me not only as a better communicator but also as a better person in life. Now I think you would have got why I responded like a Zen when I get a critic about attending a Toastmasters meeting. Over to TM Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pravda. All the three speakers today show their commitment towards your self-development through their speeches. Personal branding also requires a great deal of commitment. Not all of us can say that we have a great personal brand, can we? In that case, can we change the personal brand that we are? How many of you remember the Vasant & Co ad? Yes, can you please tell a few lines about it? Yes.
No, 30 years back,
Yeah.
what about this?
Yes. It starts with a black and white scenario where a family goes in a cycle rickshaw and they buy this big solid television and they bring it home. It's a very slow music that time, the 1980s music. And slowly that transitions to a trendy, fast-paced music with a lot of colors, and it shows all the latest LCD TVs on display. So this is an example of how a brand had a solid image earlier and it still retains its relevance with respect to changing times. With respect to personal branding, we can also change our brand in response to a change in career, in response to change in life situations, and in sync with the changing times. So how do we go about this change in our personal brand? The first step is to recognize that there is a need to change. Second is to identify the barriers that prevent us from taking up this change. And third is to know what is the risk of continuing with these barriers or with these behaviors that prevent our change. And the fourth is to replace these behaviors with new behaviors which will bring in the change. Guess it's getting too heavy. Do you want a break? I don't have Kit Kats with me, but we have the table topic sessions to lighten things up. Before that, I request all of you to kindly vote for the best speaker. Our timer, can you please tell the list of the qualified speakers?
All the speakers are qualified.
Thank you. All the speakers are qualified. Toastmaster Suresh, Toastmaster Sandhya and Toastmaster Pravda. Moving on to the table topic session. To conduct this session, we have a software developer who loves to code and his personal brand image is that of his friendly nature and enthusiasm to learn and help and his chilled attitude. Toastmaster Prasanna Venkatesh, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, TM. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the table topic master is to facilitate the table topics. The speaker has to speak at least 1 minute and can take up to 2 minutes. There is a grace period of 30 seconds. So the speaker can take up to 2 minutes, 30 seconds. I will randomly call upon guests as well as Toastmasters and give the topic on the spot. So let's get into the table topic session. For the first speaker, I would like to call upon one of our distinguished Toastmasters, DTM Thomas sir. Please. Humanity's greatest strength and also its reason for its ultimate downfall is its ability to normalize even the bizarre. Humanity's greatest strength and also the reason for its ultimate downfall is its ability to normalize even the bizarre.
Humanities for the first second word?
And ultimate downfall.
Humanities first.
Greatest strength.
Greatest strength. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Glad that my ability to comprehend is under test. Then only my ability to speak comes up, right? Thank you very much. It is true that it's given to human nature that we tend to normalize things after protesting, after enjoying, after being too joyous. That's the normal way we can survive. That's the way we have survived over how many years, God knows. That's also a dispute, right? Now, to start with, this ability is what saw us through. Otherwise, we would have ended up in the caves. We wouldn't have known anything beyond that. Let me take up the second part about how this normalization damages us. To be honest, in a practical sense, we now have learned to take any rot. We have learned to take corruption. We have learned to take moral ineptitude. Anything we are now accepting as normal because we don't want to clash with the powerful. We want to somehow end our life of 90 years or whatever, create some children, a bank balance, have a house, and exit. That, my friends, can only damage all that we have achieved over the period of years. So that to me, is my understanding of how this normalization process damages us, destroys us, takes away all that we have achieved. Going back to the other part, how do we take up normalization as a beneficial part? Otherwise, starting with a child who is now given the most artificial milk, if you were to protest, there would be no life. But that child learns to accept even rotten milk as normal and somehow survives. So humankind's survival all along was based upon its ability not to wait for the ideal, but to manage with the real. To me, that is in summary of how this normalization process, which is both helping us through, also damaging us as a society. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. A thought-provoking speech. Perhaps we need a separate speech slot for this. We'd like to know from you. Anyway, for next speaker, I would like to call upon, again from our Toastmaster Siva. Paperback or ebook? Which one do you prefer? Both you.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. So given the privilege of the technological growth, and I hail from the IT background, I prefer ebook, and my favorite is to go beyond that, and I'm a kind of auditory kind of person. There are three types of people, you may know: visual people, auditory, and kinesthetic, and I belong to the second one, and I would like to hear more than to read. So I'm the kind of person who always have a list of audiobooks in my phone. I have subscription for Audible. So I still remember those days during the pandemic where I traveled from Chennai to my hometown back in down south, Tirunelveli, just with all alone, solitary travel, just with one audiobook. The whole book I would complete at the end of the travel. So that's how I always prefer the electronic media. Then I have also started to read a lot now, because that is also both should go hand in hand. So what I'm doing right now, if I am reading a book, I will take a hard copy of it as well as the audio version of it. So I read it at the same time I listen it as well. So I can feed my mind with both inputs of the audio version as well as the written format. So with that said, I'm handing over to.
Thank you, Shiva. Perhaps technology does make life easier, your bus travel as well. For next speaker, I would like to call upon from guests, any volunteers? Please, guest Kirtana. Your favorite show you binge watched? Your favorite show you binge watched?
Could you announce the name, please? Kirtana.
Kirtana.
So, so my favorite show I binge watched is on Netflix, which is Money Heist. So it was about there were around 4 or 5 people who used to they are just doing some random work in random places. There is one professor where he used to do a master plan for all of the heist, how he is doing to do the bank. So it was some Swiss bank. So in that bank, he have proposed all the blueprint and everything he have inculcated in his plan, and he came to know what are the people he have to pick so that it will be good for his plan to do the heist. So they entered into the bank and they started doing gold mining. So there were gold bars in the bank. So they thought they cannot take all the gold bars and they cannot take through out of the bank, because the police force was there and they were waiting to shoot them. And what the other plan they had is there was a subway, and they thought to go through the subway, and there was a boat which is a ship basically. So it was waiting, and they started melting the gold into small kind of balls, so that it will be easy for them to transport through the pipes of to the submarine. So that's how they came to escape through this heist. And there were many it was very exciting to watch what will happen next. And there were days where I didn't sleep for around 2 or 3 hours, and I will watch all the night, and I really enjoyed watching it. So it kind of thrilled me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, guest Kirtana. For next speaker, I would like to call upon again from guest Ganesh. Tell about your favorite childhood superhero. Tell about your favorite childhood superhero.
I used to watch many superheroes like Superman, Batman, and especially I loved Spider-Man superhero, because it is always very interesting and very funny, and it entertains every day. I used to watch around evening, I think so, I'm not sure. After finishing my school time, I used to come to home for this alone, because I love Spider-Man very much. superhero will be in Tamil dubbing. It will be very interesting and very easy to understand for us. And that's it.
Thank you. For the next speaker, I would like to call upon from Toastmasters, from new Toastmaster, Toastmaster Shanmugam. Shanmugam. Tell about one thing or one person you cannot live without. Tell about one thing or one person you cannot live without. Oh, without.
Thank you. This topic which he has given, that is very emotional one for me. He has asked, without you cannot live. If I want to say, it is by my wife. Because in the early stage I was with my parents, up to 27 years I was with them. Remaining year I have to spend with my children and my wife. My children, they may be with me up to the age of 25, then they will start their family. But up to my end of my life, I have to live along with me, my wife. So she is the very important person. Due to sharing my feelings and doing all my works, everything she has managed, and we were there up to, I can say, after marriage, about 27 years has passed. So without my wife, I cannot live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shanmugam. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. So for the next speaker, I would like to call upon from our guest Vishnu. Tell about your worst haircut experience. Tell about your worst haircut experience you previously had in your past.
Yeah. So good evening, Toastmaster members and guests. So about my worst haircut experience. So back in during college days, we used to go to salons which cost very cheap. But then at some point there lot of brands into salons came in. So back then as a college student, I had that fascination to try out different fancy salons, try out different haircut styles that they show on their menu card. So I chose that particular one, and then and after that, my brother, my elder brother used to accompany me, and he was he cracked some jokes about myself, and in front of the salon owner also, he made me look like a comedian in front of everyone, and I felt so embarrassed, and I had to deal with this embarrassment. I had to inculcate this. Not to remind of embarrassment for the next 1 week, and then there was no looking back. I started enjoying every moment that he faced. So thank you.
For the next speaker, I would like to call upon from our Toastmasters, Toastmaster Rajesh. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. Over to you.
Thank you, TT Master. I have some, extra seconds now for this thing.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So I was supposed to, deliver a speech today, but my, due to my bad, throat and cough, I could not, deliver. Yeah. So. So if you see my WhatsApp status, it says substance over form. So we should not, judge a book by its cover. Something which looks maybe ugly, but the substance of it may be beautiful. In my life, I have met people who were looking like, goons or dacoits, but they have helped me in my life. Somebody, suppose we used to go to a doctor, so the doctor may not be so qualified or may not be so reputed, but the treatment what we get may be good. So always go by what is important and what is material. So the form or the cover does not matter. Thank you and over to you.
Indeed, it's very inspiring. So for the next speaker, I would like to call upon one of our distinguished Toastmasters, TM Cruiser. I'll give you the one line, you have to stretch the story. One day, while you were returning home from your office, your pocket was picked by a thief. You ran after the thief. And one day, while returning home from your office, your pocket was picked by a thief. You ran after the thief. And what do you?
I ran after the thief, after streets and streets. It was almost close to midnight. I was returning from my work after finishing it very late. But fortunately, that guy seems not to know all the venues and streets of my area. He was struggling to go to left or right, but unfortunately there was nobody available over there to help me grab him or others. Then I took a road around and started facing him in the front. I stood before him. I found him to be a person well known to me, living in the street corner, a normal day dweller, not much of a rich person. And I asked him, come on, what did you do? He surrendered before me, Anna, I don't know, it was you. Tuesday is Valentine's Day. I want to at least buy a Cupid's arrow. I didn't have any money. I thought of robbing somebody in the night, get some money and get it. Then Monday and Tuesday I had to search which girl would receive this, roaming around my area. This is a mistake I did. I said, you want to use Cupid's arrow, don't chase me in the middle of the night. Come to Medley Toastmasters Club on a Saturday evening. We are performing Cupid's arrow. And we'll also inculcate good habits in you on how to decently do this. And he seemed to have changed his mind. I hope he will stop chasing me, rather chase somebody else with those arrows. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thanks for engaging your humorous speech. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. Now I'm handing over the stage to TM.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prasanna Venkatesh. Can we have the vote for the best TD speaker, please? Timer, can we have the list of qualified speakers, please?
The qualified speakers are TM Thomas, Toastmaster Shiva.
Could you please raise your hands as your names are being called out?
Yes, Kirtana. Yes, Dayani. Yes, Shandhu. Yes, Vishnu. Toastmaster Rajesh, DTM Prasad.
Okay, I made a mistake. Instead of updating Shiva, I updated Suresh. In case you like Shiva's speech, please what it is.
Yeah, instead of Shiva's name, it's Suresh's name. So kindly vote for Suresh if you want to vote for Shiva.
Is it only if I voted for Suresh, I will have Shiva?
Yeah.
It will be considered as Shiva.
Yeah. can feel the excitement and anticipation of the next session. Are you all excited?
Yes.
The speaker for the educational session today is a co-founder and CEO of Elixon, a medtech enterprise in association with IIT Madras. He is a member of the steering committee of Department of Biotechnology, co-founder of Jokes Apart, founder trustee of the Geeta Ranganathan Charitable Trust, and is also having an active role in many other charitable organizations. He is a recipient of Spark Award for the top 24 talents in Aragon International. He is a district champion of ISC in 2020, district evaluation champion in 2014, 24 times district finalist across all the speech categories. He is a much sought after speaker in various forums. Current area director of B4. I feel like SPB was sung the song Manil in the Kadal. This is only a gist. If I were to read his entire list of recognitions and achievements, we could easily be eligible for the world record for the longest Toastmasters Club meeting. Having said that, I call upon Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan. It's my absolute pleasure to invite you, sir, an epitome of personal branding himself for the education session.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I get inspired every time I see somebody attending a Toastmasters meeting on a Saturday afternoon, because whether at office or at home, Saturday post-lunch session is supposed to be a session not to be awake, and especially it is a big challenge for speaker to come and present. Is it okay?
Yes, camera was recording, Krishnan.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to be standing before the screen, that's why. So it's really a great privilege to be here, and I want to thank the organizing committee of this club to have invited me for this session. Thank Mr. Guru for recommending my name. Hate your contest, right? And this is really, I'm sure many of you will be able to relate to this title very well. And as I take the session forward, maybe it will be good for you to agree with what I am saying. I want to set some ground rules here. So can I stand a little bit?
Yeah, feel free to move. You can move on. You can move the leg.
This is covered fully, so you can move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to set some ground rules for the meeting. Stop me and ask questions anytime you have any doubts. The projected reason is you can clarify your doubts then and there without carrying it forward. The actual reason is I don't have too much to present, and hence I need those And ground rule 2 is whenever you have an idea or a suggestion, please let the group know about it. The projected reason is it will be useful for others and they can be benefited too. The actual reason is you can also show to the group that you know something. And the ground rule 3 is sometimes I will be saying that we shall discuss separately after the meeting or during the break. The projected reason is it may not be relevant for the group and hence it may eat on others' time. But the actual reason is I may not know the answer. Yes. That is important. In May 2006, I don't know if Guru sir or anybody was there at that time. It was in Sri Lanka, 650 plus audience, a speech which had 650 to 700 words, minimal vocabulary, personal life experience with a simple speech structured and very well mentored. And after I finished that speech, I had many symptoms which many of us would have. I was extremely nervous, I had a dry mouth, and the speech which I was supposed to speak for a minimum of 4 minutes 30 seconds, I finished in 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and hence I got disqualified because I could not complete the speech. And that day I experientially realized something which has been proven by research also, that public speaking is the world's greatest fear. I believe that it is said that public speaking is even ahead of death. So death is supposed to be the second world's greatest fear, and public speaking is the world's greatest fear. I believe it's proven by research and I experientially understood it. I was even thinking, because at that time I was already a marketing manager of a multinational company, handling 400 crore business with a team of 450 people under me, and I've been very successful in my career. Why should I subject myself to this kind of a fear every time I go up on stage? And for whether it is in table topics for 2 minutes or a speech for 5 to 7 minutes, why should I be encountering all these problems? And for almost the moment I thought I should give up public speaking. But then that day I realized that this is the reason, there are some reasons why I hate the contest. When I went and looked at people who were present at that day, and that time district conference used to be having speakers from various countries. We had people from Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan as well. I just observed a few things that day and I thought these things, if I am able to really practice and embrace, I would probably be able to win a contest. So I thought you need to have a powerful message, appealing stories, great language in the speech, large content, dominating stage presence. I thought if only I can master all this, I would be able to really win the contest. So I started looking for powerful messages, right? Many people talk about reach for the sky. I thought I should go beyond and reach for the stars. And then I went go beyond the sky. Finally, I ended up landing deep inside the sea. I didn't have anything which I could get out of it. Chase your dreams, people say. I went one step beyond. If it has to be a powerful message, why cannot it be marry your dreams and produce more dreams? Or something more interesting as well. And then I started living with nightmares after that. Okay. And that part of that observation that I had didn't help and I continued to hate my contest. Then I started looking at some appealing stories. Why should I look at ordinary stories, some appealing stories? So I even thought of some fairy tale things like elephant in a rat's hole. Something just like that I wanted to look at some appealing stories. And then while everybody looks at Sachin Tendulkar's performance schedule, I wanted to look at Sachin Tendulkar's sleeping schedule, so that it can be very appealing if I go and speak about it to people. And then Edison's efficiency. I'm sure many of you will realize Thomas Alva Edison is a name which is used in Toastmasters or abused in Toastmasters. We don't know whether he failed 999 times or 9,999 times to invent a bulb. But every time I started using Edison's name, I started looking like a bulb myself. And that is how it was. Right? Eventually, when I tried all this, I became a Osama bin Laden when I was actually speaking there. So I continued to hate my contest. Then I want to look at some great language. Right? Because the simplest thing people say, why don't you take one word every single day? So I started looking at newspapers and some interesting things came. Every day I looked at some word. You can see all this here, the slogger, cohorts, all that. So after 20-25 days, I became extremely impressed about myself. I wanted to use these and give a speech, so I put all these words and then went and give a CC6 speech in my club. The evaluator came up and said that Sridhar, it was an excellent speech. Next time you give a speech in English, he said. So I wanted to be a Shakespeare, but my sphere started shaking. And that was one more reason, but whatever I tried from the observation that I had, I continued to hate my contest. Then large content, so I started looking at 2 interesting twists. It was not sufficient. So 3 main stories, 4 sub-stories, 5 characters, 6 moral values, and a 7-minute speech. I ended up being one intimidated speaker actually, eventually. So that was one more reason, and I had to fall flat from the observation that I had. And I hated my contest. Then dominating stage presence. I'm a very stoic person because when I look at body language, body would go in one direction or language would go in the other direction. That's how it was for me. So exaggerated body language, impactful gestures, high decibel delivery, thought-provoking questions, running into the audience. Because 2011 I saw Craig Valentine in Mysore. He would start on the stage and forget about using the stage. He would not just dominate the stage and he would dominate the audience also. Which means he'll walk across the 500th person in the audience and from there he will be speaking. Somewhere you will only hear the voice, you wouldn't know where that person is at all. And that's how it was. I also tried those things, as I told you that it's not possible. And even vocal variety. I have a very limited wavelength of words, voice that I can use. When I wanted to put something in my speech, some kind of vocal variety, and towards the end of a speech, I had one statement saying that, do you know what is the most important thing in life? Fire, 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 I screamed. The security came running. So that didn't work. Even in body language, in Toastmasters especially, people take it to a very different level. They say you can divide your stage into 3 or 4 things, So in 2013, I went and tried that in my district contest final. So I said my home is here, so I clearly explained people that's where my wife is, my child is, and then park and then office. So after the speech is over, one very senior Toastmaster came and told me out of the 4 times, 3 times you went to your neighbor's house. So that is what was happening. All these things didn't work properly. And while I wanted to set the stage on fire, I actually got into fire. So it didn't work. I had many more reasons for me to hate the contest. So this actually was happening. Somewhere at some stage I realized there's no point in trying all those observations because it works for them and not for me. All those things probably are not the right things for me to do. And somewhere from what I was doing earlier, I decided to do something else, and that is when moving away from all this, instead of hating my contest, I decided to date my contest. And when I started dating my contest, you saw all this earlier. This was already there, world's greatest fear. Am I coming in the way? And in May 2012, maybe sure, at the time I'm sure you were there.
No, I joined late.
Sri Lanka, 650 plus audience, again same, something similar. That day when I came down from the stage after being the first runner-up at the district final, because I was dating the contest for many years after that, I experientially realized, though it was not proven by research, that public speaking is the world's greatest pleasure. It is in pursuit of that world's greatest pleasure, people try so many things and ended up experiencing that as the world's greatest fear. There is no other pleasure in the world that I can tell you which is greater than public speaking. And when I said this in one of the sessions, somebody came and told me, you know what is my pleasure, and that pleasure is the greatest. How can you challenge me on that? I said, come and speak about it. You will realize that pleasure is much more than what the pleasure you had. Public speaking, and when people acknowledge and when you see claps happening. People ask me, do you crave for claps? No, I said, I don't crave. I die for it. Because it actually makes you a completely different person when you are able to make an impact on people, and when you are able to make a change, and when you are able to communicate the message that you want to communicate. And I have a few observations that I had in this journey, and that's what I want to share today with you. And the first and foremost thing I wanted to share with you quickly as to what has been my journey and what all I have done. And this is my attempt in the international speech so far, except for the 2 years where I had moved out of the country for work, where I couldn't participate. I couldn't be part of Toastmasters at that time. Ever since, I make my job of the VP Education very easy. Every time there is a contest, the first name they will write is Sridhar Ranganathan. They will not even ask me whether you are participating or not. I had given that liberty to them. And maybe that was one more reason, because they had put my name and publish, I end up taking a speech and giving it. Otherwise, sometimes till the last moment we'll keep on postponing, okay, we'll write the speech, we'll write the speech, we'll write the speech. And hence because it was taken that I will be there, I started participating, or I continued to participate and it helped. And I did not stop only with that. I actually participated in humorous contests, table topics, evaluation and all that as well. The first and foremost thing that I realized is that we need to have a dream. And every one of us who has come here to Toastmasters have a dream. And I don't think, and I can probably speak with reasonable authority, that nobody came here to say that I want to become a world champion of public speaking, right? Who came to Toastmasters, the first objective did not say that, okay, I have to become the world champion of public speaking. I came into this fraternity to become a great speaker, and I'm sure many of us will be able to relate to that. That's the simplest objective that we came here for, and that's the dream I want to actually pursue. And when that happens, in Toastmaster, there are various options which are there. Maybe there are manual speeches, which either the legacy speech manual or the pathways that we have now, or the speechcraft programs that are there, and then you have the educational sessions or contests. Right? There are many ways where you actually can try and become a great speaker, and that's the dream that you had when you joined Toastmasters. And I took the fourth option of participating in the contest as my approach to become a great speaker, and that's how I looked at it rather than looking at myself as a world champion. And that's one reason why I said that dating is more important than you doing something else and thereby you started dating. So that's how it is. And while I look at this journey, if you look at only the prepared speeches of international speech and humorous speech, I look at it as a 70 better speeches than the manual speeches. Right? Every manual will actually give you some guidelines, whether it is vocal variety or body language or building a story or something like that. But I looked at it because in these contest speeches, you tend to inculcate or incorporate everything. Thank you. Incorporate every aspect of these things, and thereby you are putting many of your manual objectives in one speech. And also when you go to a contest, you tend to take it little more seriously than what your club speeches are. And you tend to get it better mentored than what you do with club speeches. So in the process, because I attempted 70 contest speeches, I actually ended up doing 70 better speeches than what the manual speeches I would have otherwise done in the club level. So my dream of pursuing, or my dream of becoming a great speaker, I pursued it in this route, the fourth step that I told you, and thereby I started enjoying that much better. And now the second point is action. Contest requires focused preparation. How do you have it? The judging criteria is here. I'm sure your VP Education will be able to calculate this, or it's available on the net as well. Content has 50%, delivery has 30%, and language has 20%. These details you can actually see. And this criteria is very important for you to know, especially when you're playing for a contest. So people ask me, you said so much that contest is not so important and all that, but what I'm saying is, when you're playing a match, play the match with this rule of the game. And if you lose the match, it doesn't matter, you don't stop playing that game. Well, you continue to play, but when you're playing, understand the rule very well so that you play it to the best possible extent. Content selection. I always look for simple ideas, life lessons, day-to-day affairs, love, family, personal development, and adherence to life values. Avoiding highly technical topics and narrow topics that suit only a subset of audience. And these things also I learned out of experience. Especially in one of the humorous contests, I became a winner in the club level, I became a winner in the area level, I became a winner in the division level. When I went to district, I failed miserably. Why? Because the club contest, area contest and division contest happened in Chennai. And they were able to relate because I was using actor Madhavan as my prop in that. So they were able to relate when I was talking about actor Madhavan, and they actually acknowledged my humorous content. When I went to Bangalore, because we had contestants coming from Kerala, coming from Karnataka, coming from Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu as well, and those audience were only 20 to 25%. So which means the speech that I gave related, or people were able to actually align themselves only to the tune of 20-25% of the audience were only able to relate to my speech. The rest of them could not, and hence I felt miserable. I failed miserably. So avoiding narrow topics that would suit only a subset of audience is better. And many times I have seen this in corporate clubs. When they have a corporate club, they'll bring a humorous speech about what meetings happen in a corporate setup and all that. So that actually can be avoided. And similarly in humorous speeches, I am saying many of them, people say that the pain points bring humor, right? Maybe that's one reason why there are so many speeches on marriages and girlfriends. In fact, in one contest, I remember out of 10 contestants in humorous speeches, 8 of them were about marriage, wives and girlfriends. And in fact, 2 contestants spoke about the same girlfriend actually. And that's how it is. But you need to be careful about those things. And I'm giving you some of those topics which I actually have spoken, which I picked up from my life and then I've converted into speeches. I have around 125 of them, and if you want I can circulate it to you. And the bracket or the one which I have converted into speech. And I have a practice. Whenever I see an incident happening, for example, today I didn't get parking to park here, I'll pick that up and keep it with me. Next time when I go to the club meeting, whatever is the table topic, I give that as a speech actually. Right? Then in any case, the evaluator will come and tell Sridhar it was great, you spoke for 2 minutes and your body language was good, and next time speak something related to the topic, he will say that I'm doing right, but I don't care. So when I'm giving the speech, at least I will see the response of the audience, and then I either put it as an inspiration speech or humorous speech and I build on it. That's how it is. So everything that I've seen. So if you look at, these are my contest speeches, and I'm sure when you look at these topics, these are things which happen on a day-to-day basis with everyone, right? So anything that you encounter in your life, the simplest possible thing can actually translate into a speech, and that is what people need also. I'll cover that in a few minutes. So be prepared to make minor, moderate, major changes, or even to drop a topic, because we normally get obsessed with what we create, and especially when you have a great mentor, when he comes and tells, no, drop this, it will actually hit us very hard. Normally கஷ்டப்பட்ட டாபிக் கிடைச்சிருக்கு அதென்றால் ட்ராப் பண்ண சொல்றாரு so. But I think it's important that for us to actually be prepared to drop it. Don't get self-convinced that it is good. In one of the speeches that I did, this is in 2016, I started with a different opening. I completely changed it. Body point I reduced it by 50%. Second and third point I dropped. Fourth point I newly included. Fifth point 30% change. Sixth point 50% change. 7th point dropped, and conclusion completely changed. And because I was able to do this over the next 4 levels starting from club, I went up to district level to become the first runner-up that year. That is why it is important that we don't get obsessed with what we create. In terms of presentation, being natural works. As I told you, I'm a stoic person, I cannot jump around, people cannot relate. And then over a period of time I realized, even if you are building characterization in your own natural way, just moving 45 degrees, you will be able to bring in the difference in characteristics, in the characters actually. So you can talk to your father here and then turn around and talk like a son. And that can actually bring in a huge impact. People don't want you to be acting on stage. We don't need people to be acting. So being natural work, being original self adds authenticity, presentation to suit your style, and willingness to take risk. What is taking risks? Again, not if you're an introvert, you don't have to actually transform yourself to become an extrovert. How can you break that inhibition and see how you can take some risks? For example, in 1 year, because I felt that it is a journey for me to become a great speaker, I wanted to try a few things which I'm not good at. So between the club level and district level, I decided this year I will not give the same speech again. So club level I had one new speech. Area level I had a new speech, division level I had a new speech, and district level I had a new speech. In fact, between the division and district I had only 20 days time. And my mentor also was suggesting, saying that you anyhow won at the division level, why do you want to take risk at the district level by taking a new speech? But I still said no, this year I have taken this. At the most what will happen, I will fail, it's okay. So in 20 days time I prepared a new speech. And I remember one day I was in Bangalore at that time, so I took my mentor to a resort. Morning to evening we sat in our boardroom and prepared a speech. Morning, I just had one idea in my mind, and with Nagaraj Rao sir, I sat the whole day in that room, and we prepared a speech. And after that I had to travel a lot. I had been to Korea, I had been to London, I had been to Malaysia, Singapore. Wherever I went, the first thing I will find a Toastmasters Club and go and give the speech. And that's how it was. In Korea also I thought, okay, will people be able to relate? Because I was talking about my son in that story. Will people be able to relate? But I had standing ovation wherever I went, and I realized that emotions can actually relate with any people across, and I had great acknowledgement from those people, and I still have connected with some of the top Toastmasters there. And I came back and gave the speech, and I became the first runner at the district level. So why I'm saying it, I took that risk and I was able to successfully manage that. In 2014 contest, what I did, actually the district semi-final, I gave a speech and I placed second. I thought, okay, I should not take the same speech, to at least convince my mind that it should be different. I created a speech overnight, a new speech, completely different speech. I failed miserably, I fell flat, I didn't place in the top 3 also, but it still mattered. I said, it's okay, I have to take that. And the reason behind that was, when people come and ask me saying that you actually get the number 1 slot in speaking, sometimes the mic doesn't work properly, sometimes this doesn't happen. And at district level, the previous day they would have had cocktail dinner till 1 o'clock in the night. People will be so sober and they'll be coming and sitting. How do you actually make them laugh at that time? All this thing will happen. But I ask one simple question to them. If I don't overcome all these things to become a better speaker, what is the point in me looking at being a world champion, right? One day if I have to become a world champion, I need to actually overcome all these things. And then understanding audience. This is something which is very important. They want an imperfectionist. They don't want somebody to come and preach. They want you to share your experience with them. And those stories related very well with audience. So one of the titles, one of the topics, if you see, I am talking about gifting, where I actually take a birthday party, I take a gift, and I talk about various problems that we encounter while we are gifting, right? Looking at the price of the gift and look at whether that person gave the gift at the same price and whether the size of the gift is big. Should I keep it this side or that side so that people can see? When the photographer is there, I should go and give the gift. All these things I brought in. And many people came and told me, I have these problems when I'm actually gifting. And we don't speak about it, but they were able to relate very well. And understanding the audience is also very important because they're heterogeneous. Some of them are logical in nature, some of them are emotional in nature. If I have to give an example, I don't know how many of you have seen this movie called Linga of Rajinikanth. Good. And there are a few victims of that movie. Right? Well, I'm a hardcore Rajinikanth fan, so anything Rajinikanth, even if he walks that side in the movie, I'll go and see that for 3 more times. That's how it is. Right?
I think Guru is clapping.
Right, in that movie in Linga, towards the climax, Rajinikanth will jump on bridge to a hot air balloon, right, where Anushka will be going. And he will jump, and when he jumps, all of us fans also will go jumping in the movie. And then he will go with Anushka and we will come back and start sitting again. That's how it is. My father sitting next to me is asking, how is it possible? How can he jump from the bridge to that hot air balloon, you tell me? See, in reality, Rajinikanth cannot jump from a chair also. Right? But I am emotional, I'm able to really follow him and I actually agree. But my father was so logical and he was not able to accept that. So I am saying this in an audience typically, you have different varieties of audience. So hence you need to actually keep those in mind when you are looking at the dialogue, when you are looking at your delivery, it can actually relate differently. And then trust is the most important element. And trust yourself, trust your mentor, trust your judges, trust your audience, trust your fraternity, and trust your God. And judges or somebody, right? And I don't know how many of you have competed here in contest. And Toastmasters also has this habit. Many times when you don't come in the top 3, some Toastmaster will come and tell you, the speech was great. You should have been in top 3 at least, they will say. You will feel, my God, you will breathe, the judges breathe. And then you place 3rd, somebody will come and tell you, somehow in my opinion, you are the number 1. So these things will happen. At that time, we will all start cursing judges, saying that who's that fellow, and judges also, we don't know who are there, right? And we look for people with peculiar behavior. I'm sure Guru will be able to explain that in his speech much better as a chief judge. So what I'm saying is, you need to trust. They are human beings and they are people. And I also tell this because every time I go before a contest, I please the judge so that they don't take a panga with me, So they know I respect judges. That's one reason why I put this. Trust your audience, and as I mentioned,
Just to intervene, that was my humorous speech this year, and I come
down. That's why I said you should check with Guru on judging. I don't want to talk more. And trust your audience. I've seen every time I have not been able to do to the level of my satisfaction, there will be somebody in the audience who will actually be nodding and saying, come on, no problem. Even when I am struggling, they will actually encourage me sitting in the audience. So which means people don't see you as a contestant or a competitor there. They see you as somebody whom they want you to succeed, be successful. And that's how, that relatability becomes very easy. And then tap all potential resources possible. One mentor is mandatory. I had the fortune of having so many people who have really helped me big time in becoming what I am today. Trust your mentor. Each mentor has a unique style. And take inputs from others, but use it judiciously. Because especially after a club contest, if you have come to the 1 or 2 level, everybody will have points to come and say. Somebody will come and tell you, use the stage better. Somebody will say, don't use the stage better. You don't know what to take it or what not to take it also. Use judiciously, talk to the mentor and come to a style. And there are many other things which are there, like this is one, Craig Valentine for tips. 52 weeks he'll give tips, you can actually take that. And then, but one caution is every resource other than the mentor is just an aid and use judgment before taking any action. And all ideas which are given do not fit into the contest guidelines and Toastmaster rules also. That's something. So the fourth point is enjoy your journey. It is very important for you to enjoy. Contest is the best thing that can happen to me as a speaker, so just enjoy it. And the audience, as I told you, is a great source of inspiration. Share your experience with the audience, that they will love it. Validate your experience with them instead of suggesting or advising them. Target to compete against self. Am I better than my own past? Take it as one more better speech. I push myself. If I have competed at the district level, when I go to the club level, though there is a thought that can cross my mind saying that okay, it could be easy for me when I am going after being there at the district level, I would still want my club level speech to be better than what I did at the district level previous year, so that I push myself to do that. So if I can compete with myself, and if I can say that if my speech can be better than what I gave the previous time, it can really help you differently. So in summary, if you can dream, if you can take appropriate action and realize what the dream that you have come here for with that action, and having that trust in the fraternity and every other thing, and if you are able to enjoy it, to me that is actually DAT, which is dating your contest. If you are able to do that, it can really work well. And lastly, thank you so much for your wonderful contribution and patient listening. Projected listeners, I enjoyed your participation. The actual listeners, I really enjoyed your participation. Thank you so much. If I have time and if I have questions, if there are any questions, I'll give 10 more minutes. Thank you.
You mentioned about Toastmaster, you mentioned about losing in Sri Lanka in one of the team drastically. Then you showed the other year that you prepared well and you went. What that one particular factor which motivated you?
As I told you, I didn't want to give up speaking. I know that there is something which can actually make me do better than what I've been doing, and I removed the focus on being a contestant, and I wanted to actually improve my speaking abilities. In the process, I discovered myself. So every time I tried in the beginning, I actually was trying to be foreign to myself. I was not able to relate, and hence I failed. Then I started saying that okay, if I can only reflect what I am, then it can really help to get the best out of me.
In this process, what is the involvement of your mentor?
Significant. In fact, in Toastmasters, mentors sometimes actually go overboard also, I should say. They do much more than what I can do. Neenajan ma'am, I remember in Sri Lanka, she sat with me from 8 o'clock in the night to well past midnight till 1 o'clock, foregoing her dinner. And then at 1 o'clock one night only she realized that she had forgotten to order, and then we ordered sandwich and eat. Ian Faria DTM. This I just cannot forget. When I actually told him he said I am landing from Baroda at 9:30 in Bangalore. You can come to my house at 10:30 or so. I was prepared. But his flight got delayed. He landed at 12:30 in the night in Bangalore airport. And I thought, okay, his flight is not taken off and I couldn't reach him. 12:30 he calls me and he says, I am now going home. If you want, you come now. I am a very selfish person when it comes to contest. When the mentor is offering, I grabbed it with 10 hands. I went to his house at 1:30 in the night. And then he sat with me for 3 hours. And you know why? Because the next day I was traveling. And the fourth day contest was there. Because I was traveling, he could have simply said, it's your problem. But between 1:30 and 4:30 or so, he made me make the presentation of the speech. And you know, contributions from these mentors are so valuable that I just can't measure it. And you know, every speech I go and make on the stage, my best for performance is a thank you to them. And that's how I would say mentors have played a significant role.
Only one more. The deviations you had, the temptations not to go on stage, can you share?
Not to go on means, sorry?
Not to compete in that level. Once you broke, you came up. In that process, mentor helps, but any other factor which deviated you?
When you're saying distraction, basically.
Distractions, yes.
Naturally, whenever we look at results, whenever we look at, especially when I'm a Toastmaster for 10 years or so, and you know, there could be somebody, one fresh person who has just come from college, who can come and beat you. Right? Would you want to actually go through all that again? And sometimes when you're in an organization, I remember in Bangalore, one of the days, I used to talk about Toastmasters in my organization. I was the managing director of a company. The medical representative comes to a club. I have to compete with him, right? And that's also okay. Sometimes when they become evaluator, they take all the revenge of the organization on you. So these are things, you personally get into some kind of mind block yourself, saying that is it okay. So overcoming all that is actually humorous speeches, for example. Whether will my humor work or not. At some stage I realized it's not my problem, it's their problem, right? And then I started continuing the journey. So these are things.
Thank you. May I? I've heard this said in 3 different ways from the winners, with all honesty. Some say, I just want to win. Some say, I have a message I cannot stop sharing with the world. Third one is, I want to do the best I can. Where do you fall in this?
I relate to the third much better, because while I play for win. That match I don't want to lose actually. Till the last ball is bowled, I don't want to give up. So I play very well. But after that, I don't relate to myself with the result, because it's not in my hands. I've performed and I've done it. If I win, I win. That's an acknowledgement for what I've done, but I progress. That's how it is. I have a message, is definitely not in my this one, because I'm just sharing what has happened to me. In the process, people relate to me. In fact, many of them even now remember the 2012 speech, and when they come and tell me that I want to listen to that speech again. But most importantly, the third variety is where I belong. Thank you.
See, I have a problem, voice modulation, because my teachers smiling, they used to say that wife and others, it's very difficult for me for the voice modulation when I'm for a contest. I'm talking about ASC contest. Voice modulation is important.
Voice definitely important.
How to develop that?
Yeah, but again, as I told you, you don't have to go out of your comfort zone or out of your wavelength, or your what you call this limit, and then try something different. There are 3-4 types. Vocal variety actually can be with speed also. The word rate, number of words that you use per minute. So sometimes what I do is, when I speak of something which is an episode that had happened, which is emotional, I use a higher vocal speed, rate of speech also. I said this happened, I just had to rush this, and finally when I got this, then I slow down. When you're giving a message, slow down, make people think.
Oh, that's a better technique.
Right? So in that gift thing, I come and say, that day, I realized the art of gifting lost hands down to the heart of the one gifting. The vocal variety, right? You actually change the speed. And sometimes you go low on your voice, people will actually come forward to listen to you. So these are things which
attraction will be there when you low on voice.
Right.
Not only in the high pitch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Within your framework itself, you will actually be able to get it.
Well, passes also plays a major role, no? Yeah. You should give pass also.
Pass. Very important.
It's
like
very
even
important.
I said, right, I enjoyed your participation, and then I took that pause so that I can milk the reaction of people.
Yes.
Some smile will come. I could have just pushed on to click the other one also. But when you pause, it really makes a huge difference. Pause is extremely important. And sometimes I've given pause where I make the audience go restless. In 2017 or 16, in the beginning, I went up on stage, I stood there for 30 seconds. 30 full seconds, I didn't speak at all. Imagine I'm the first contestant there. Everybody is waiting. Over is not listening to me also. Come to the edge of the seat and think, what is this fellow up to? It is an attention grabbing, right? You don't need to always start with a question. In fact, sometimes question can be very risky. I tried question type in one of these sessions, where I asked her to tell me what is the most important thing important. I didn't realize students were there. One guy said whiskey. What will you tell me? I cannot rub the same thing, start again. Because if it was money or happiness, I had something else to continue. When he says whiskey, what will I do? So these things you can try differently. Pause can really be very big use. Sir?
Came to know you are the winner. Yes, we all know it is restricted. Are you working for world champion? Yes,
I do. As I told you, I do, and I definitely would want to go there. Why would I stop my journey? And I know I have conquered up to the country level now. Maybe when I go to the next level, at least if I have to try many of these speeches to resonate in the international stage, I would try that. And why would I not be keen?
You have always chosen one story, or it's in bits and pieces with one major content?
I do everything. I'm very open. Sometimes I have one story with 3 episodes or something. Especially in humorous speeches and all, you cannot. It's difficult for you to have one line of thought, right? To have the same thing resonating. So in one of the humorous speeches, I had one from yoga, one from meditation, one from swimming, one from cricket. All that I put together and created one different thread. And you need to have something. Then I went out and looked at what can be. Then I brought in a celebrity dimension, saying that Jan-born celebrities, what do they have and how can I relate myself? So I put all these things together and I concluded in a different way. So you should be open enough to get all these things. Yeah.
So we have at least 4 to 5 first-time contestants in this movie. So with a different hat on you, more than the winner. For first-time contestant, some simple tricks or the points that you want to suggest.
Yeah, pick up a topic which is very close to your heart. Something which really touched you. You felt that it really made a huge difference to you. It could have been something that happened at your office, something that happened at home, something that happened to your friend. It need not be there is a myth also. It need to be a very painful story and all that. It can be a very simple story. As I told you, it can be about parking. And in fact, Mohammad Katani, the power of words speech, the finalist, you see, it's amazing. He talks about the power of words, and if you go to a semi-final speech, he's talking about seat changes in a flight. He's not happy, so he keeps on changing seat and finally concludes the message saying that if you're uncomfortable in a relationship, keep changing, no problem. Don't restrict yourself with 1 or 2 changes. So it can actually be simplest message, be yourself, and you'll be able to make a huge difference. Thank you so much once again. Please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan. I now call upon our President Toastmaster Dinakaran to kindly felicitate Toastmaster Sridhar. Thank you, Toastmaster Sridhar, for making us fall in love with the contest. The strategy for the contest is now crystal clear, isn't it? Now, what is the strategy for building a personal brand? First, we identify our ambitions and the vision. Next, we identify our strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. This will reveal the gap between where we are now and we want to see ourselves in future. Having identified this gap, we try to work on these aspects. So we've seen how to define a brand, how to build a brand. We've seen that a brand can be changed. How do we assess the impact of a brand? That is through reflection. There are 2 aspects of reflection. One is reflect in action and reflect on action. When we reflect in action, as we deliver or as we perform an act, we see what is the reflection, how it is perceived by those around us. And when we reflect on an action, we see what is the impact our act has with respect to the desired outcomes. To take us further on reflection, we will now start our evaluation section. I call upon our General Evaluator, Toastmaster Venkat Palle, to lead us with the evaluation section.
Let's come to the second part of the evaluation, which is speech evaluation. The first evaluator, who is a passionate Toastmaster and is a research scholar. A lot of time he got wings and started flying in the sky, looking rainbow every day, everywhere. And after some time, someone hit him with an arrow of reality, which let his wings disappear and fell on the ground. Who is a Toastmaster Hemant? He is evaluating Suresh icebreaker speech. Please put your hands together, Toastmaster Hemant.
Toastmaster Suresh, your speech was really good. we enjoyed it. And I would like to tell you what is the name meaning of it, Suresh. Actually, Suresh is another name for Indra also, and it's also derived from sun. And it is also a name for also a name of my father also. So I was evaluating you at that time. I felt it. Your speech was really good. Your path is dynamic leadership, and the purpose of your speech today is to introduce yourself, and you have to say what is the basic structure of your speech. Your basic structure with your speech was really good, and we enjoyed it. You initially showed us that what is the engineering, why you are doing engineering, what is your leadership goal with it, and after that you tell the stories about your coach. The first is table tennis coach, and the second is swimming coach. So that was really good, and the final conclusion was also good. It was committed to hold the story. I praise it, and the conclusion was like commitment is way to success, something like that. And after that, some points which I felt. You are looking for dynamic leadership, and you have to introduce more yourself. Like you can talk about yourself, you can talk about through what ways you are coming. You can talk about more about your mother and other things, friends also. Yeah, you have talked about coach and friends, coach and your father. But I thought you can talk more about your family. And if you think about what are the points I would like to suggest where you can more improve yourself, these are like you can go for more confidence, you can speak more confidently, and you can have more hand gesture and other things, because this will improve you in leadership style, and you can have some vocal variety. As part of this means evaluation, I am giving you only these 2 advices, because burdening you with more advices would be not beneficial. Over to you.
Thank you. Now it's time to evaluate second speech. The second evaluator is a software developer by profession, passionate about coding and making music. He was hit by Cupid arrow when he composed a song called Arrows from the album Light Years. Please join me welcoming Toastmaster Jagan, evaluating Toastmaster Sandhya speech.
Today our guest speaker told that public speaking is the world's greatest pleasure. With the pace and efficiency with which Sandhya is delivering her speeches, it is certainly clear to me that it is her greatest pleasure. Sandhya delivered her speech Effective Body Language Level 3 Project 1 from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway. Sandhya, I have 4 important strengths that I've noticed in your speech. Now for anybody who has seen Sandhya, how she had delivered the previous speeches and this one, clear-cut demarcation of the implementation of this project. She was committed to inculcate the body language features in this project, which I could see the difference between the previous one and this one. Kudos to your effort that you have put into inculcating these body language features in yours. The second thing, as the manual suggests, posture. You had confidence, you were alert on stage, you were alert about your body movements on stage, and you showed attitude on stage, which I found to be humility. I'll come back to the strength of that attitude later on, but the second thing that I want to come with respect to the body language is the stance. Now, as you could see, she was weighted evenly across. The center of gravity, as the manual suggests, you have to weight yourself evenly across the stage on both sides of your body. So the center of gravity, she was centered and she weighted evenly on stage. The second thing is that her knees were straight and her feet were pointing straight. The arms, you held yourself, your chest open, and you held your hands like this, which I'll come back. There's one posture that you would like to be comfortable with, is either holding it this way or this way. We'll come back to that. The third thing is with respect to your movement. You did have lateral movements. Once you had 3 parts, you suggested 3 parts, you did come in front and then go backward. The gestures, you were empathic with your gestures when you said we hit the students with Viva. It was very nice for me to, you went back and then came back to me towards the audience. They would have felt the pressure of how you did it. Now, where could you have done better? The basic thresholds were met. Where could you have done better? First of all, the humility. Now, as our speaker also said, guest speaker, just 45-degree tilt. When you were talking about the pressure cooker, if you had taken a 45-degree tilt and as though coming down or just giving an advice because you were on stage characterizing your professor, could you have done that rather than just standing straight, just a 45-degree tilt, coming down on me and telling me, come on. That would have made the difference between the 2 characters, before and after, when you said danger room to guidance room. That would have given me, that effective usage there would have showed me, Sandhya has changed. Sandhya has changed, the body language changes before and after. How? That's the 45-degree tilt. The third thing is that you did make, the second thing, you did make eye contact. This is something that you would like to work on is some places you closed your eye. Especially when you were mentioning at the end, you closed your eye. Maybe you could go back to the video and understand where. To challenge yourself, the body movement to break is to emerge is that your body movement is rectangular right now. We could cut the edges to smoothen it. All the ways over.
Thank you. Now it's time to evaluate third speech. This third evaluator, who is a Toastmaster, and she was really hit by Cupid's arrow and then got married, and who is a Toastmaster Priya, evaluating Toastmaster Pravda speech. Please join me welcoming Toastmaster Priya.
The great quality of a leader is they don't talk much, they just do it. Good afternoon to all my fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I saw a communicator who was very clear. There was clarity in that speech, and that's what we say is one good quality of a communicator. How did we all watch that clarity? BTM and ATM, before Toastmaster and after Toastmaster. Before Toastmaster, her company was ceiling fan, nervousness and stress issues. After Toastmaster, she became a very direct communicator and a very social person. Before Toastmaster, a very analytical style speaker, now she is more of decisive. Before Toastmaster, if anyone said, "Yenna Toastmaster," she still had that smile, but now she says, "Nanda Toastmaster," and she still continues smiling. Very crisp and clear and always straight to the point. What was her style? Direct. Because she always comes here to say, "I have something to say," and she made her point straightforward by giving us an example in her college without the help of any PPT, how successfully she gave her 45-minute speech. So she proved how this communication style helped her. To this Zen master, what is my recommendation? Because I know what's your caliber, and you have seen different type of leaders, communicators around you. If you are said, these were the leaders I saw, some were assertive, some were very passive, and when I heard them, I felt, yeah, I'm good at this. How about learning some of these points or this style of communication? Because what happens when we go through, we also grow through. And when you're experienced in a certain field, we learn knowingly or unknowingly, and some things we pick. And now because you are in the path of understanding communication style, I would have loved to hear what were the different style you saw, and from that why is that you chose this and how it directly helped you. This is one recommendation. Finally, I would like to say I always enjoy hearing to her because she's always straight to the point, and she's one such leader and a communicator who knows her way and who always shows us the way. Thank you so much. All the best.
May I ask a timer for the qualified evaluators? Thank you. Please vote for the best evaluator. Now we are done with the evaluation round, and let's move on to the tag report. To start off, let's call the timer of the day, Toastmaster Ranganathan. Please submit your report. Please join me welcoming Toastmaster Ranganathan once again.
If anyone is as old as me or slightly younger, if you had gone to the central station or the Egmore station a few years ago, you would see on the notice board the arrival time of the trains. Some of them will say on time, some of them will say 10 minutes before time. Today I have to report that all the trains have arrived before time. So to go individually, in the prepared speeches, Toastmaster Suresh took 5 minutes 20 seconds, Toastmaster Sandhya took 7 minutes 8 seconds, Toastmaster Pravda took 6 minutes 4 seconds. Next we go to the TT. DTM Thomas took 2 minutes 22 seconds, Toastmaster Shiva took 1 minute 30 seconds, Guest Kirtana took 2 minutes 2 seconds, Guest Dinesh took about just a minute, Toastmaster Shanmugavel took 1 minute 2 seconds, Guest Vishnu took a minute 31 seconds, Toastmaster Rajesh took 1 minute 36 seconds, DTM Dinakaran took 1 minute 37 seconds. Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan took 40 minutes 26 seconds. That was impeccable. Toastmaster Hemant in the evaluation section took 2 minutes 27 seconds, Toastmaster Jagannathan took 3 minutes 22 seconds, and Toastmaster Priya took 2 minutes 42 seconds. Back to you.
Thank you. Now I will call upon our counter, Toastmaster Anuradha, to submit her report. Please join me welcoming Toastmaster Anuradha.
Good evening once again to all. Congratulations to the TM Prasanna Vani, second speaker Toastmaster Sandhya, second evaluator Toastmaster Jagan, and third evaluator Toastmaster Priya for their clean speech. And our DTM Guru Prasad also for a clean speech for his TT speech. So congratulations to all. Then coming to the guest speakers, guest Kirtana, guest Janesh, guest Vishnu. They had many A's, so and likes. It is acceptable because they are in BTM stage. So we can excuse them. Then coming to our president, he used a few so, like, and again. Now our speaker, first speaker, Toastmaster Suresh, he used few so, what, don't know, sometimes. And our Toastmaster Rajesh used few so, but, and you know. Toastmaster Shiva used few so, also, I can. And so since they are in ATM stage, they can avoid in their next speeches. And our speaker, second speaker, Toastmaster Pravda, she had few so's, except that it's a clean speech. DTM Thomas sir, he had few R's, except that is a clean speech. And Toastmaster Shanmugavel, he had few R and few likes. Since he is between ATM and BTM, so we can excuse him. And sorry, I forgot about Toastmaster Hemant. He used lots of and, so, really good, like and but, so you can avoid in the next speech. Thank you. Over to evaluation.
Please vote for the best tag role player. Sorry.
Grammarian.
He doesn't like mentor.
I'm sorry. Now we'll call upon grammarian to submit the grammarian report. Let me, please join me welcoming Toastmaster Suresh, sir.
Yeah, just kidding. I love you, man. That's a nice mentee. Yeah. Playing the role of grammarian, as I committed, I have used the word. In the beginning, I said I will not be a fault-finding committee. It's nothing but encouraging the words and the usage. And I will be motivating only. Today, in the name of a usage I found, I was focusing on the language, flow, and the tense. So, in the narration, when you are starting something, make sure it's in the past tense or in the present tense. Please continue. Prepared speech was very nice. Tense was very well maintained. I know it's a bit difficult in table topic because impromptu you have to think and say. So the tense changes, especially, I'm not naming anyone. In the narration of one incident of a movie, the speaker started in the past tense and jumped to present tense and moved to present continuous tense and a lot of things. So what happens? For listening, it becomes little bit odd. Otherwise, nothing wrong in that one. So try your best. Keep on trying, especially in table topic also. That one thing I want to say. And language flow is, as our counter mentioned, the repetition of words normally disturbs the listener. For that reason only. But we cannot avoid it. I'm telling the truth. This is the years in Toastmasters. We can only reduce the number of ahs and do's, so that the listener must feel comfortable with what he or she is listening from the speaker. These two are the focus points. And next, I appreciate that speech title of these two speakers, "To break is to emerge." It's a beautiful thought. Thank you, speaker. And BTM and ATM, I was so curious from the beginning when she is going to explain this one. At last, at least in the middle of the speech, she said before Toastmaster and after Toastmaster, keep going, ma'am. That's a commitment you are making to yourself, because Toastmasters is a gift which you are giving to yourself. And one day your family will also appreciate that one. Simple, make them cavalier, your teenage daughter and son. That's why. So coming to the usage, the repetition of words and, I do not, and okay, so are the things which we have to work out, which I have mentioned. And remaining years I have to live can be, and now I am living with my wife, like that, make sure the tense. And one of the, as a grammarian, I'll tell you, the General Evaluator will agree with me. When you are addressing, with due respect in this fraternity, we address not only the name, we prefix the Toastmaster. You have the privilege to add Madam Toastmaster. I always address Madam Toastmaster or Toastmaster. Just bluntly, don't call by name. It's not the way we invite the Toastmaster, or we don't address the other Toastmaster. Please remember, these are the few things. Coming to the word of the day, I'm totally happy with this word, inculcate. You all rock. Especially speakers Suresh, Krishnan, TM Vani, Toastmasters Pravda, Toastmasters Kirtana, Vishnu, some of them guests also. It's a good sign. You are going for word of the day. Guru Prasad, Toastmasters, Sridhar, including our guest speaker, and Jagan also. So keep going. Let's have a commitment that we'll use any number of words brought by which are brought by the grammarian. And over to you, General Evaluator.
Thanks for the report, sir. Now it's time for the vote, best tag vote. Now it's also time for me to provide the overall feedback of the entire session. The Sergeant Arms started that meeting on time. Toastmaster Suhail, he came on time or before time. When I was here, he came on time, and we arranged everything. And thanks Toastmaster Hemant for your support and help arranging the chairs and starting the meeting on time. And and we should appreciate VPE last minute changes when the speaker was unable to make it, and the last minute change he found the other speaker, and without affecting the agenda, he made sure that he kept the same agenda. And also appreciate Toastmaster Sandhya to accept as a speaker in last minute. And President nicely he introduced all the guests and took the feedback, and also our TM Modi immediately she applauds our educational speaker on the spot. And today Toastmaster Suresh is an icebreaker speech. Let's appreciate him and welcome him to having some more fruitful and beautiful speeches in coming days. And Toastmaster Hemant, also a first time is playing the role of evaluator. Let us appreciate him for his role as evaluator. And about the TT speaker, I think he cleverly used all the guests as a TT speakers, and he arranged very nicely and very easy to understand and attend the concepts. And of course, DTM Guru sir, he gave us a very entertaining and kind of a movie-going plot about the TT speak. Really love it, sir. All the table of speakers done a very well and a fantastic job. And I'm coming to education session. Toastmaster Sridhar and Ranganathan has delivered a very good person like me, new to the Toastmaster, and we learned a lot how the Toastmaster journey from the beginning to ending, and the slides, it still is going on my mind. I want to see it and learn how you have traveled all the way, and it is really great, sir, you are here and helping us, people like us and newcomers, encouraging to travel journey as a Toastmaster, remaining complete life. Thank you for being here and sharing your thoughts. And apart from it, I think coming to the suggestions, only the agenda, last minute changes. So again, agenda was not shared with the latest changes. So we have to refer in the WhatsApp group, and who is the speakers and the evaluators roles or a serial order was changed. Then we have to again offline, we have to discuss and finalize. That agenda should have been updated and shared to everyone as well. And about the TT speaker, best TT speaker selection, instead of Shiva, as Suresh name appear. So better we do not do these things in the next sessions. Apart from it, I find it very encouraging learning for me, especially for me also the first time playing the role of General Evaluator, and I learned a lot. And thanks to my mentor, by mistake I forgot to give a report also. Let's say without his support, we had a long time chat before coming here, and thanks to my mentor, and thanks to all of you, and thanks, and just hand over stage to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkat Palle. What a session we had. True to the brand that Medley is, isn't it? How many of you here wonder how is Cupid's arrow related to personal branding? Only two? I thought all of you would be wondering this. Wondering, okay. We often seek love externally. It is time for us to turn the bow, face it internally, and shoot the Cupid's arrow on our own self. Fall in love with ourselves, nurture ourselves, and let the world see the brand called you. Personal branding that you consciously create for yourself. Personal branding is a way in which we establish distinction and stay safe from extinction. The beginning point to develop a personal branding is to discover ourselves and fall in love with ourselves. As I said before, you have found your Valentine's Day date, haven't you? Having kept my promise, and before you could search for objects to hit me with, I hand over the podium to the presiding officer. Before that, I also want to vote for the best role player. General Evaluator Toastmaster Venkat Palle, TT Master Prasanna Venkatesh, and TM OD myself, Prasanna Vani. Thank you. Over to you.
Did we all enjoy the session?
Yes.
Let's have a round of applause for all the role players. It's time to appreciate the first time icebreaker speech given by Toastmaster Suresh. Could you all come here? Yeah. Let's have a standing applause. Then you also want. Okay, yeah. Let's do that. Many of our Toastmasters being part of that world record from the district side. Let's appreciate and then applaud from our side. Toastmaster Venkatesh and you were okay. Toastmaster Prasanna Vani, Toastmaster Priya, Toastmaster Pravda, Toastmaster Sundaresh, DTM Guru, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Could you all please stand up? Yeah. Toastmaster Sandhya. Thanks for being part of this event and then being an ambassador for many Toastmasters. Thank you so much. This voting done. Right? Yeah. In the meantime, like next week, we don't have this place. Like we are looking at different options. One of the options could be children's park, beach. Any other beach? Beach.
Long back before COVID, we actually wanted to have one meeting in a metro rail starting from Vimko Nagar to airport. But at that time, metro was encouraging this because they wanted to promote. There was a process, but I don't think within 1 week we can get it done. Otherwise, they want to promote how metro is made.
You cannot exceed the time limit.
So I think last time we had it in beach. We thought of changing the venue. Maybe it could be a different thing. So
if it's outdoors, one request everybody to come in their own stool.
Okay.
Take opinion and since it's a public transport, is it allowed that we can have a meeting?
No, like
no. At that time, metro was promoting this. They wanted such things to be done because people are not using metro, not traveling. But now there are some restrictions because one crowd has increased. After COVID, they are putting a lot of restrictions. No, we had one general manager from Metro, Chennai Metro with us.
From our club, he
passed away.
So we will plan it out, yeah. So most probably it could be children's park. We'll plan it out. Okay.
Just take your opinion and then finally we will release it.
Okay. So that's one thing. Yeah. So voting is done.
I have one
Sure,
point I want to say about our guest speaker. Can I come there?
Yeah,
I'll
please.
take only 1 minute.
Yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan and Toastmaster Sundaresh. Today I felt one similarity which I like to share with you. This is my 20th year, and in the first 5 years I was competing, how you said about your history, gradually moving from club, area, division, district. I have won from district 116 Qatar, visiting other clubs also, span of 80 clubs there in that small country. Everything was smooth. I was losing a lot. I was learning a lot. I was winning in some places also. It was a learning experience. But once I started losing, learning, you replace the word. Generously, I was offered judges post. So every contest, how they started writing your name for the contest. As a contestant, my name was written as a judge, and I got deviated. For that reason only, I asked you which factor was driving you to try again. I was happy as a mentor. I have started 4 clubs on my own. One particular club, I'm the founder member for Indian ladies in Qatar, which I feel is a feather in my cap. Sincerely, I feel it, and I was a Gavel club coordinator also. Coming to the point of winning or losing in a contest, how it plans the course of our membership in this Toastmasters, really it matters. I attend the meeting, fine, but after becoming a judge, slowly I started keeping away from contests, which I shouldn't have done. Now I feel that after coming to India, I was not taking any ex-com post. I know some of the people requested me. I said I needed some time for personal reasons. I retired, I settled everything. Then now I thought of working for the contest with some of the speeches which got clicked in this club. Today your speech motivated me. So if at all I'm going to get any third prize in any of the level this year, the credit will be for you, sir. That motivation I have got this year. And one more good thing, sincerely from my heart I'm telling, I know the previous winner in semi-finals, Koka Prasad, Indians, whom I come across, my good friend. And last year finalist in US, Nisha Shivaram. You might have heard her speech. She is my good friend. And no doubt, you all will be knowing Aditya Maheshwaran, our brand from Chennai and Bombay. He has spoken. He is a top winner out of the top 3 in US. I have met these world champions, including Murad TM President and that Saudi person whom you mentioned now. Al-Qahtani. I have attended their workshops of most of the winners. They come to Middle East, and I have attended, spending my money, traveling with my friends and watching the live final in the middle of the night. I do have things, but somewhere I got deviated. I think today you have guided me as a traffic police. Thanks for
I think with this education session, we are also starting with our competition contest session. So yeah, it'll be like at least March 11th, right? Tentatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the IAC contest on March 11th and
March 11th.
March 11th, tentatively. Yeah.
On to contact to register.
We'll serve the machine. Yeah. This is the order of the performance of the game. This one player was Prasanna Venkatesh. Best DT speaker, DTM Group side.
Thanks to the thief.
Best Evaluator, Toastmaster Jagannathan.
Yes.
Best speaker, Toastmaster Sandhya.
Yes.
Best background player, Toastmaster Suresh.
I'm not detailed.
Yeah.
Sweet, so thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This, yeah, we have come to an end of the meeting. Okay, before that, yeah, let's have a few feedback from the guest. Do you like to come and give our feedback? Dhyanesh, guest Dhyanesh. Yeah.
Your feedback about the meeting. You can share your opinion. What you felt about the meeting.
I think it's a better place to improve our that fairness and the way of speaking, the gesture, how to speak in a manner to everyone, and that's all I can tell in this class. Maybe in the future I can.
Thank you. Let's keep we'll come and use the feedback.
Actually, speaking, I'm just speechless, to be frank. It's very. Yeah, like maybe this is the first time to meet all the people, and what are the things I have to grow. Like, it's the biggest fear, to be frank. So, more than death, the public speaking is the biggest fear. When we realize we can tell. It's easy to speak, but when we come in front of everyone and we just a little crowd, it's shivering. So there are things there are a few people I really admired. I know how they speak very fluently, and also they give a pass and give importance to every word. So there are many things I can learn from you all. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
This
meeting was very inspiring, and I learned to inculcate many points from the speech and make a new pathway to myself, and also to be more considerate to myself, so that I can improve and be more confident.
Thank you. Yes, Krishnan.
So last week also I came. So you would have seen like how I spoke last week. So I was able to feel much more comfortable when I came today. So I was able to feel the difference. I was able to feel the difference of feeling pressurized and also feeling pressured post my talk. So I'm waiting to experience more pressure going forward.
So with this, we are closing the meeting. I declare the meeting 7 and 8 closed. Thank you so much.